All right, welcome back to another episode of the Dreamers Beware podcast, where resilience is required. In this episode today, I have lacrosse goalie Will Helm. And personally, I don't know too much about lacrosse, but Will just has a super dope story. He first started out playing lacrosse at St. Lawrence, did his 4 years there, then went to grad school at Duke, where he eventually found himself a spot on the Duke lacrosse team and found himself starting in net in the 2023 Division I lacrosse national championship game, which is crazy. But I'm super excited to share this one with you guys. Just have so much respect for Will. And yeah, just gives a lot of great advice throughout this episode, and I hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you in the next one. All right, welcome back to another episode here of the Dreamers Beware podcast. First episode back in a little bit, was on a little hiatus, but we're back now. Super excited for this episode today. I have someone who has, I guess the best way to say it is just a super dope story. Kind of played lacrosse. He's a lacrosse player. I know him from hockey, but kind of played at St. Lawrence and then made his way to Duke and found himself starting in a national championship game, which is just crazy to think about. But Will Helm, thank you for being here, man.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be on. Very exciting.
Yeah, good. To start, I kind of want to go way back to, I guess, when we were together hockey-wise. So when did you get into lacrosse, I guess is the first question, because I know you just from hockey and you're playing with my brother.
Yeah. I guess I had always played lacrosse kind of as a side sport, per se. Hockey was definitely my favorite sport, my main sport growing up, and I played town lacrosse, so very informal, a couple practices a week, and then it lasted for a few months in the spring. But loved to have a catch in the backyard, and was something I did around the neighborhood, so it's kind of how I began.
Nice. Now, why you're a goalie? I should mention that he's a lacrosse goalie. Why the hell would you pick lacrosse goalie? Is my question.
I mean, I asked myself that a lot, especially when I was playing. But I don't know. I think I kind of gravitated to it. I always wanted to be a hockey goalie. That was like my
me
dream.
Too, honestly.
Yeah.
My dad didn't let me because the pads are too expensive.
That's exactly what my parents said too. And they didn't want to have to lug that around too. And obviously I wasn't going to be carrying it, and it was on them. So, so I never was allowed to be a hockey goalie. And then when I started playing lacrosse, I just wanted to hop in the net. So that's how it began.
Nice. So then I guess when you get into, so you played hockey, lacrosse, and then I also saw you were on, I was doing some research, a mountain biking team at Hotchkiss. But kind of what was your mindset in high school of did you have your eyes set on a certain sport you wanted to maybe play in college, or were you still trying to figure it out up until you graduated?
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to play hockey in college, but I was pretty small and pretty bad at hockey. So I was facing the reality there was tough, but I started playing lacrosse. I was on the JV team at Hotchkiss as an attackman. And I was the attackman for pretty much the whole season until our last game when our goalie was injured or out or something, and they needed a goalie. So I literally that was the beginning for me. And I don't think I really thought about whether or not I could play in college seriously, just because I had started so late, essentially just as a sophomore. But it was something that I pursued, and always would have loved the idea of playing in college, but I didn't know how serious or how good I was to be able to do that.
And no, I feel like for me kind of similar, because I started swimming my sophomore year of high school, and I guess I've talked about it before. One of the biggest issues I had was I always felt like I was behind. I was always trying to catch up, and I could never get there. And that was kind of one of the early struggles that I had early on. Was there anything similar to that, or something different you had, whether it was hockey or lacrosse, that you kind of struggled with leading into college?
Yeah, I think I definitely felt like that. I felt pretty severe level of imposter syndrome almost when I was like playing, even in high school or later in my high school career. I think what really hurt, I guess, was kind of the way the recruiting process had worked for lacrosse. At that time, kids were committing to colleges, especially for the D1 level, like really young, in like 8th grade and early on in high school. So by the time I really picked it up and as like a junior in high school, thought I could seriously maybe try and play in college, I mean, there was really no spots. But the way I just love to play. I like to be competitive, and I didn't really think about it too much other than just playing.
So you went to St. Lawrence. That's where you first started. I actually almost went there too for swimming. But just things happened, and I was lucky enough to go to Denison. So was St. Lawrence like kind of the only school that you had eyes on you, or you would be able to play at, or was there any other options in that process?
Yeah, it's funny the way it worked out, but I think I had set, because of the recruiting process, I had set my sights on a smaller D3 school. Just felt like I could potentially play on a team at one of the schools, and so there was an initial wave of recruiting, and I didn't really get any interest from any coaches. And then the reason I ended up at St. Lawrence was actually one of my teammates from Hotchkiss. His father was the coach of the St. Lawrence team, and so he ended up committing to go play for his dad at St. Lawrence. And then I think at first, very informally, his dad was like, well, like, you should think about coming to St. Lawrence. And so I was really fortunate the way it worked out. Obviously, it was some of the greatest 4 years of my life, and just like the way, just knowing my roommate now still, my roommate throughout college, and my friend in high school, it's just how it happened.
But did you have, like, did you want to play D1? Was that something that you were like, oh, like, I want to play D1? Or like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously you started late, but
I definitely want to. It was just like, I think like actually every school had a goalie by then, and then you only take one, maybe two goalies.
So you get, I guess off of that, kind of want to go back.
Yeah.
So what is mountain biking in high school like?
Mountain biking
is it like
great.
Downhill mountain biking, or is it like just like a race, like uphill, up and down?
It was more the latter, so it was cross country kind of. But it was honestly awesome. The way it started was
biking experience before.
I had none prior. No, I mean I love to be outside, and I liked biking, but 2 or 3 of my closest friends in high school were very much just outside guys, and they had biked in the past, and there wasn't a team at Hotchkiss. And how it started was these guys would go out. There was woods near Hotchkiss, and they would go and just build like jumps and trails in the woods. And then they were like, well, we have to do a sport every season. We should try and start a mountain biking team. And so they started the mountain biking team, and I joined on, and it was amazing. It was just fun. You go out in the woods and bike around. Good workout.
I was just in Colorado for my cousin's wedding, and my one cousin was like, "Oh, you want to try downhill mountain biking?"
Yeah, that's a whole different ball.
Hell yeah! Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it was so sick. But I remember just like 100 feet into the trail, my forearms were just like cooked. But anyway, so you get to St. Lawrence, kind of. What's your mindset? I guess once you get there, are you nervous? Did you know you would be playing freshman year or at all? Or was it just kind of, I guess, what was going through your head, really, to start when you first got to college?
Yeah, it was definitely an adjustment. I don't really think I thought about whether or not I would play. I was just kind of just trying to keep up best I could. Obviously, you adjust to a different level and pace of play. And as a goalie, it's just kind of, you're out there with just more developed athletes, like they're bigger guys and the shots are faster, and so that was just trying to adjust was my main focus. And at the time when I got there was an older kid who was the starter for a while. he had been a starter since a freshman, I think, and he was a very good goalie. So I kind of knew that I was probably gonna ride the bench a little bit when we got there.
Yeah. Was there any like, because I know when I started swimming in college, I was like, what the hell? Like, was there any doubt in your head that was like maybe like, whoa, maybe this is like not the right thing to do, or maybe like, oh, I should have stuck with hockey or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. I wish I was able to play hockey in college, but I don't think that just the way I was as a hockey player I could have. But a funny story is, like, I really never worked out in high school, and when I got to St. Lawrence, like I couldn't even our bench test is like a body weight 10 times, and I couldn't even do 135, which is just the bar, and 145 plate for one rep. And I was like, this is not meant for me. But I mean, like, it was a great adjustment. You learn a lot, and it was a great time.
Yeah. What allowed you to build confidence through, I guess, the years to when you eventually started? Because I know for me, specifically, I saw like my teammates were people that were ones that were kind of believing in me before I even thought I could do some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So just kind of what helped you build confidence through, I would say maybe those first 2 years to when you eventually, started. Was there any like something that, I guess, the catalyst for that? Was there anything that happened?
Yeah, I would agree, actually. I think your teammates believing in you is definitely really important, and it was important for me. Obviously, you get really close with your teammates, and that belief from them carries a lot of weight. I guess it was weird, I had a freshman year, and that was kind of just adjusting, and I didn't play. And then sophomore year was COVID, so we had one game, and then all went home. And then the year after, when I started as a junior, it was still a little weird. Like, a lot of teams weren't able to like field their like programs for that spring season. And the games were, you didn't play as many games. It was just a little different. We couldn't practice all together for a while. Like, you had to do 2 separate groups, so it was weird. But I think one thing that I really started doing as a junior, and at that time when I began to play, was just take it more seriously and put in extra work by myself and try and work out, and really just care as much as I could, and really dedicate myself. So I think, when you do that level of preparation, and you start to build more confidence in yourself.
Yeah, no, because I coach swimming now, and I think a big thing, like, is what you're saying, is like these kids, they want to be good. They say, oh, like, I want to go do this, I want to do best time in this, but it's like they say it, but there's not, like, I don't see the discipline or the drive behind it, and like really getting into it. And especially during a time like COVID, I can't imagine, like, just obviously there's so much uncertainty, and you're still obviously striving for something, but you don't know, I guess, when it's going to start back up, if that makes sense again. But kind of, I guess, into your senior year now, did you want to go to grad school, I guess, was the first question. Or what were you thinking? What was kind of your next step after St. Lawrence?
I guess I had thought about it. There was one of my teammates who went on and played at Penn State, was like adamant about doing a grad school program and trying to play another year of lacrosse at the D1 level. And so he had talked about it a good amount, and I had kind of pondered the idea. Eventually I was like, I don't really have a plan for post-college. I don't have a job lined up. I don't know where I want to be, where I want to live. So I had thought about it just because of that. And I thought that, I was a econ and math major. I could maybe try and do a business program, which could be good, and helpful as I try and get a job. And so that was really my thought process. But I didn't think about it at all until I had really graduated. Technically, actually, I didn't graduate in the spring of 2022 because I had taken a semester off for COVID, so I was like one semester behind, and I was like, what's going on in my life? And eventually I had to like do online class before I got to Duke. But
so why Duke, I guess, is the next question. Did you think you could play there? Like, I don't mean that in a bad way. But was it just like what was the first step, I guess? Like, how did you get to the coach? Or like, did you send him an email, or what was that process?
Yeah, I know. No part of me thought I was like could play at Duke. I think I literally had walked to graduation. The next day I got home, and like I said, I still had a semester of school left, so I had to figure out that. I had an internship in New York City, so I had to figure out that. But it was like a 6-week internship. It wasn't like a thing. I had no job. I was still moving, like unpacking my bags from college, and I think I had made a list of schools that had a good business program where I could do a master's year, and then also had lacrosse teams, and Duke was like on the top of that list, and I was like, screw it, I'll just send an email. That's not gonna hurt me. And I think they responded. I sent it to all the 3 coaches, and one of the coaches emailed me back like 5 minutes later, and I was like, what? Yeah. And then I got on the phone with them the next day, and the whole process was a longer story, but eventually, it just worked out, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I had no idea that it would happen like that.
Did they not have like a goalie coming in or something like that? Not that you have to explain the whole thing, but kind of like for me when I went to Denison, it was like, I don't want to say I got lucky, but I kind of got lucky because there's only 5 kids they had coming in. It was over, and they were like, oh, if you come here, like, you can have a spot. So kind of, I guess, what happened, maybe a little bit more into what kind of how you got that spot.
I think they really just like needed a traffic cone practice. They had graduated one goalie. I don't think that they were bringing in a freshman at the time, but they already had 5 goalies.
Oh shit!
And like I said, I think like they could always just use a traffic cone, just take some shots, and someone who wants to be on the team. So, and I that's what I was fully expecting it to be as an experience. But I was like, wow, I just got this opportunity to play on Duke and be part of that. So I was like, I'll take shots.
Dude, that's like, I get like, I don't think it sounds weird, but like I get chills thinking about that, because that's just like, it's so unique. It really is so unique, and like I don't know your full story, but like I know that you obviously been through some stuff, and you know what you're doing, and your head's on straight, and I think it's just so great that people understand this. But what was like the first practice like? Like, were you shitting your pants the whole time, or what was
definitely. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, obviously, like, I'd watched these guys on TV,
right.
And so I knew a lot of their names, and I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. So I'd gotten there, and I guess it's kind of back to what I was saying about the process of getting to Duke, but I got there in the middle of the summer. So my business program was like a 9-month thing or something. So, you had some summer classes, and so it was me and probably 8 other graduate students, 8 other guys who had gone there undergrad, and then there was one other transfer who joined for this summer program or this business program that started in the summer. And, that was really beneficial for me, just because I had a month and a half, 2 months to like do the workouts and just meet the guys that were there and kind of get up to speed. It was another adjustment, physically and also probably mentally too. Just the level of like in terms of physical hours of dedication to lacrosse. Like, it was something I wasn't used to.
I can imagine.
But then the first practice in the fall was crazy. I mean, it was like the most physical thing I had ever been a part of, and it was practice, and I was like, God, but it was great.
So what's like the biggest? So say like you're in net that first practice and you see a shot, or I guess throughout that year. But what's like? So an example, I guess for myself, swimming wise, I swam with a pro team in California leading up to trials, and when I got there, same thing with you. I see these guys swim on TV on the Olympic level. I'm like, holy shit, like this is crazy. But like, I guess the best way to describe it is you see them swim, you see them push off the wall and swimming, and it's like their awareness with the water, it sounds weird, but their relationship with the water is just so different. And that was kind of the big thing that I noticed between, like, because I swam Division 3, and like still great swimmers in Division 3, no hate to anybody, but like you get to that next level and just the way they move through the water is so different. What was kind of the big difference between D3 and then that top level at Duke?
Yeah, I think just the size.
Size.
The shot speed, I don't think changed all that much. And I agree, like the level of play at St. Lawrence was really high, and there was really great players. So I was fortunate to kind of have practice in that for St. Lawrence and been exposed to that level of play, because I think because of that I was able to adjust a little quicker when I got to Duke. But yeah, I mean, like the guys are just way bigger, like across the board. That was just the thing, and yeah, I mean, just I remember being so nervous, but you start like you make the first save in practice, and then you're like, oh. It's just lacrosse, It's all the same.
What about, was there anything like mentally different? It doesn't have to be like you specifically, but maybe like team-wise from D3 to D1? Did you find, no hate to St. Lawrence or anything, but was there more like team camaraderie from one team to the other, or like something like that? Or was the mentality kind of the same?
Yeah. It was a little different. I mean, I think the biggest one is you are together as a team, working out, practicing every day for like multiple hours at Duke, and then at St. Lawrence you don't practice in the fall like every day, so it's a couple times a week, and you don't work out as a team every day, and so a lot of the work that you do is kind of on your own, or you're going to the gym with your friends, or you're going out in the field and doing a captain's practice. So I think that was really the big thing, but what remained constant was just the level of competition amongst the team, like the players, their drive to win, and I think that also was helped me adjust a little quicker. I think good caliber kid at St. Lawrence, which as well as at Duke.
So your first year at Duke was 2023 then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of want the process of, so when did you find out? So you started all 19 games in 2023, is that correct? What was the process of finding out, like, I guess first, were you building up confidence over, I guess, the start of the season? Or did you think you could ever have that spot at the starting? Or was it just kind of, like you said, it's lacrosse, and you just got in that and you were doing what you were supposed to do?
Yeah.
So kind of how did that confidence build throughout those, I guess, first couple weeks?
Yeah. I think it was similar to what I had said. Like, I had no idea what to expect going in, but then over the fall practice season, you kind of just start to figure it out, and I got a lot better just because you're playing at that level, and I just kind of honed in my game. The job was open, and I don't know if I really thought about it all that much. I was just really excited to be there and just put my best foot forward every day, and so I just tried to try and match the level, like the work ethic of the other guys, because and then I think it was a week before the season started, they had pulled me aside and they were like, you're gonna start. And I remember then the whole next week I had like the worst practice of the week I've ever had. And then they didn't really like formalize it until the night before our first game that year. And I mean, we had a good goalie squad. There were 6 goalies, and they were all like unbelievable teammates, and unbelievable guys who taught me and who were really good teammates and supportive. And so I don't think I could have done anything without those guys.
Yeah, no, that's so. And one of the questions I had was like kind of who helped you through, I guess, this time at Duke. But I think that you kind of said it there, just the team. That was one of my favorite parts about swimming is just the team and the mentorship. But I guess so. You start the first game, right? You're going through the season.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's ups and downs. What kind of was there ever a thought that you? I mean, there probably was, but how were you able to like keep your head on straight of like without thinking like, oh, I'm gonna lose the spot, and like staying like mentally in the game every day in practice and stuff like that without your mind wandering, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was a lot. I just wasn't used to that. I think that, like I said, those goalies, the goalie squad that we had was really helpful, and they're great guys. So that was big. But I think like just overall kind of adjusting and trying to just flatline in terms of like my play, because like I played really well and then I played really bad, and it was kind of this consistent theme. Like going into the first game, it was like the first practice almost. I was like, I don't know what to expect. Like, I mean, the stadium, like the Duke Stadium, it's a grass field, like it's just different. There's like TV, there's cameras there. I was like, this is nationally televised. I don't know.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm not used to that. And I had great coaching there as well. I mean, I had a goalie coach who was really supportive, and we talked a lot about the mental aspect of week to week, and then obviously the other coaches were unbelievable in helping me too. So I think that was big, and just having like candid conversations with the coaches. Yeah,
that's great. So was there ever a thought that, or did it ever cross your mind that you could help take the team to a national title, or was that something that didn't come up until maybe you were in that game?
Yeah. I don't know. I was so focused on just like the next day.
Just day by day,
yeah, like in game by game. Like I remember we played our first game, Bellarmine, and I played well, and I was like, oh wow, like maybe I can like compete at this level. Maybe I can play. Maybe I'm good enough. And then we played High Point. What was it? It was like 2 days later, and I had another good game, and I was like, oh, like wow, like I really got it. And then that next week we lost to Jacksonville. We got upset, and I didn't play that well, and I was like, oh god. And so that was like the first instance of just dealing with the emotional ups and downs of the season. And then after that it was just the next game at hand, and that was all I thought about. And you have this list of firsts. Like I had played my first, that was like a top 20 matchup. We played Penn and we won, and I was like, wow, it was a really cool experience. And then it was the first ACC game, and I was like, wow, like I'd grown up watching Virginia play at Clockner Stadium like my whole life.
Because they were ranked number 1 that year, weren't they? And you guys, did you guys beat them in the ACC championship?
We beat them 2 times, but there wasn't an ACC championship.
Okay.
It was like a weird format that year, but it was. I was like, what? The whole year, I was like, what's going on?
That's it. It's so crazy. Like I said, I say it again. I just love hearing kind of your thought process through it, because I think like what you have or what you've gone through, obviously not a lot of people have gone through, but I don't think you could have gone through it if like I've said, you're there mentally, you understand, and you're willing to do those things to get to that next step. But so kind of going through the NCAA tournament, right? I guess who was the first game against? Was it against Penn State?
First game in the tournament was against Delaware.
Okay. And then who's after that? Penn State? Or no, Penn State was
Delaware,
semifinals. My bad.
Yeah, Delaware, Michigan, then
Okay,
Penn State.
anyway. Okay. So you're going game to game. Are you? How are you staying, I guess, like level-headed from game to game without worrying about, that next game or getting to the national championship game? Because I think it's so important to be able to stay in that moment, and you've talked about it a little bit, rather than getting too far ahead and losing track of what's in front of you at the time moment, that right moment.
Yeah. We had a really special group that year. I mean, our offense was really good. One of our players won the Torton that year, so he had a really great season. Torton is like the Heisman of lacrosse, kind of. And then our defense was really strong too. Just an older group who were great leaders and were great leaders to me, like all of them. So I would really just look to them for guidance through the tournament. I mean, I'd played 2 playoff games at St. Lawrence, so I didn't have a ton of experience in the tournament. And we played, Delaware, which is a really, really impressive team in the first game, and it was a really close game. We almost lost, and I remember being so stressed out. I was like, oh my god. And then it was, the best part of it was you win the game and you get to stay another week at school with all your friends, and so I think that was at least mentally my motto was just okay, I earned the right to be here for another week with my friends playing lacrosse. And our second game was against Michigan in Albany, which was really cool. Coming home and played at UAlbany, and then we won that game, and I was like, oh my god, we're going to the semifinal game, playing in Philadelphia. And then when we played Penn State, it was, as you can imagine, a pretty heavily favored Penn State crowd.
Yeah. Because I wanted to.
So funny. Yeah.
Kind of ask because I think my brother told me about it, and I kind of did a little research. But you won OT, right? Was that game?
Yeah.
And I think I saw the stat. You had a 29% save percentage.
Awful. Yeah. It was so bad.
My question is how do you bounce back from just such a terrible game to then the national championship game? Did you think you were going to be out for the championship game?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it was probably the worst 2 days of day of my life. I mean, the game itself was miserable. I mean, I obviously just crumbled under the pressure of the moment, and as a goalie, things just start to compound. And it's I remember you let in a bad one, or I let in a bad one, and I was like, oh, I should have had that. Yeah. And then it doesn't help. There's 25,000 Penn State fans singing their song. And then so that compounded, and we won in overtime on the pretty infamous stepping in the Crease goal.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so there's I just walked away from that, obviously feeling we almost didn't deserve it, feeling I didn't deserve to win the game. I was like, oh god, and I mean, everyone else played an unbelievable game. It was really just my poor performance for why the game was so close and ended in that way. So I felt very responsible for it. But anyways, you sit the day between the semifinal and championship, you basically just sit in a hotel room, and just wait. And you have breakfast, and then you go back to the hotel room. You have lunch, and you go back to the hotel room. You have meetings, and I'm just sitting and thinking, and I was like, oh my god, every ounce of confidence that I had just been shredded, and I was going the stage for the next day was only higher, and I was I'm so worried. And but I remember I went up to one of the other goalies on the team, and he knew I was freaking out. I was warming up and I couldn't make a save. I was like, this is not good. I just talked pretty candidly with him. I remember I was like, you might need to be ready to go in tomorrow. And he slapped me in the face when I said that. But yeah, I mean, that's just representative of like the type of person that he is and the teammate and friend that he is. And so that was a big help. And, what also helped was like talking with the coaches. I had thought, it's like the biggest deal for me, like probably the biggest thing I've like done in my athletic career. And I remember talking to or seeing Coach Janowski in our breakfast the next day after the game, and I hadn't talked to him at all really.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What's going on?" Like he was like acting as if everything was fine.
Yeah.
I was like, "What's up, Coach?" And he was like, "Listen, don't worry about like yesterday. Like that's not you." And then he just walked away, and I was like, "Wow, yeah." So,
yeah.
And then after our dinner, we were going like we had dinner, going to bed, or we had a team meeting. So the night before, you have a team meeting, and then the goalie coach pulled me aside, and he sat down. We were like this big, like banquet room where we had been eating dinner or meals and having team meetings, and there was a screen for a projector, and he and I just sat there and like he turned off all the lights, and then he had put together a compilation. It was just like a video of all my saves that year, and we just sat in silence and watched it. And then it ended, and he turned the lights on. He's like, "That's what you're capable of. Just like believe in yourself," which was like that helped a ton. I also got like texts. I got texts from a former Duke goalie, and he had played. I think they actually had won the championship, but he had a similar situation where he didn't play his best in the semifinal, and then he played a really great game in the championship. And he texted me. And he like told me about that story, and he was like, "Don't respond to this text, but I want you to know." And so that was pretty powerful too.
Yeah. Nice. No, that's awesome. And so, I guess championship game rolls around, and you're in that, and I guess kind of make that first save. Does everything settle in after like that first save, or are you? I would imagine you would just like you make a save, and you're like, "All right, I'm ready to go." I don't know. Was it kind of like that? That's how I imagine it to be.
Yeah, it was. I like that the morning leading up to the game. I mean, honestly, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Like I had a very like specific pregame routine. I was trying not to throw up all morning. Like I spent like 30 minutes in the locker room, like over the toilet, thinking I was going to throw up.
Wow.
But I mean, I really just got into the moment. Like we were in the Eagles locker room, so I was like, wow, I'm sitting in the Philadelphia Eagles locker room, about to play like on Memorial Day. Like this is what I dreamed of as a kid, and I can't believe it's happening right now. And then so like I'm already like a little off, and then I get into warm-ups, and my stick breaks on the first shot of the warm-ups, and I was like, oh my god. And so I had to go, and like I wasn't a very good stringer, but one of the other goalies is a very good stringer, and so he doctored up my stick, and I basically had like 3 or 4 warm-up shots before the championship game. Like I didn't really warm up at all, and I think that actually helped because you just go out there and you're like, all right, like you just play. And then I made that first save, and I definitely settled in a little bit when I did that.
Yeah. How did you think you played that game? I'm just curious, and how I know obviously it didn't turn out how you wanted it to, but what was kind of your thought after the game? Did you think, obviously you always think you can play better, but kind of what was your thoughts after the game, really?
Yeah. It was weird. I mean, like you're so shell-shocked after the game. You're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And it sucked to lose that game.
Yep.
You think about it like every second, and I still think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
I still think about it a lot today. Like we had gone down early and then got back into the game, and it was tied, and then they kind of just gained momentum. And you think about the goals you let in, or the moments where you could have done something different, or could have made a better play. But ultimately, you're kind of just like, wow. You're just like pissed. I was just gonna say, like as I think about it now, I definitely think I could have played better, but I don't think like I was proud of the way that I was able to kind of bounce back from the semifinal um, and it's kind of.
No, I think I can kind of, I don't know if you feel this way, but I think we can relate in the sense that, because my senior year, all I wanted when swimming was to win a Division III national championship, and we had 1-2 my freshman and sophomore year, but I wasn't a part of the national team because for swimming, only 18 are on the national team.
Oh, really?
But my senior year, we wanted to win, great everything, and I just remember we got third, I think, or we got third by half a point, actually. Anyways, but just remember finishing and just being like, I wasn't like, I could have done more, and like I didn't help the team out enough, but this is kind of where I feel like I can relate to you in a way. It's just the sense of, because I started swimming so late, and I made just massive improvements over the years. Like going into school, I was a nobody swimmer, and then senior year I'm like, an All-American or whatever. But I just always feel, and I still do feel sometimes, like I wasn't, like I could have done more. But I guess kind of wanting to say to you, it's like, I know you wish you could have done more and help, but dude, like you've done some awesome shit, bro. Like I understand how, like, the process you went, and trust me, I have those same feelings. But yeah, that's just kind of it. Just, I mean, would you say you had those same feelings, I guess?
Oh yeah. Like you just feel like incomplete. I don't know, that sounds weird saying, but like
I understand what you're saying.
You work all year to get to that spot and to win a championship, and then you're so close and that doesn't happen. You're like, what? Wow.
Yeah.
And so it's just that feeling of you didn't finish the job, kind of.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that'll ever go away. It was a great experience.
No, yeah.
But,
probably never. Like I said, I still feel that same way, that I could have done more. But but then I guess kind of you finish out that year's over, all right, and then 2024 season, which I think is something else that is important to talk about. But kind of, so you didn't really start your 24 season, correct?
Yeah, I didn't start a single game, didn't play a single game.
So what was, I guess first off, what was that like? Like I could imagine that can like just destroy some people, but what was kind of your mindset when you got back and you found out, like, hey, like I'm not the starting goalie anymore?
Yeah, it was a weird year overall. I mean, obviously, like I was a 6th year in college, and so that in and of itself was odd feeling, but I was just so excited to have that opportunity to be back there and to go for one more shot at it, and I was really thankful for the way, thankful for how everything worked out, but to be there for another year was really special. And honestly, I had came back and I just wasn't playing well, and Patrick Jameson, who was a freshman, and then there was also a transfer from Princeton. Patrick ended up starting, but they brought in the 2 goalies, freshman and the transfer, and they were really good. And it was a pretty intense competition, I think all year basically, and they were really good goalies, and I learned a ton just from being with them, and we had another great group, and it was different. Like it obviously stinks when you don't get the job like that, but ultimately, like subconsciously I knew that he deserved it, like I didn't deserve it, and so I don't think I had I didn't have any qualms with the way it worked out. I was like, he deserves to be the goalie, he's a better goalie, and I just tried to be the best teammate that I could be, because like there was guys in the prior year who were unbelievable teammates for me, and they set the example, and so I was like, I'm so excited to be part of this team. I want to win the championship, and so I'll fill my role, whatever that is.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's something that a lot of people can't really figure out, and they just stay sour about it or be upset rather than, like you said, it's a team thing. You're trying to win a championship or a goal, and you just have to be in full support of that team, regardless of what happens. But what's like your biggest takeaways, I guess, kind of throughout this whole journey that you still carry throughout your everyday life? Like, what are the big things that help you in your day-to-day life now?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, I just like what that experience really helped me solidify and understand better is just believing in yourself and but B, I think also like living in the moment and making the most of every little thing. And I think that I really learned in that last year, just like being thankful for what you got and being in present. And I also think that, like, I don't know, weirdly, like little things make a big difference in life. Like I think about it a lot, how I was like, okay, I was sitting on the couch and I sent this email, and like the next 2 years, that's how it evolved, and it just started with this little thing. So just like taking a chance, even if it seems dumb in the moment, just going for it, which I think was a good lesson for me to learn.
Yeah. What advice would you give to, I guess, it doesn't have to be a lacrosse goalie, but anyone kind of going through, any type of struggles, whether they're not starting as goalie, but any type of adversity or struggle, whether that's in sport or within life so far?
Yeah. I think it's that point of just like being thankful for what's going on good. Not everything goes the way you expect or how you want, but a lot of things in life do. And that was like my biggest mindset. I was like, well, I'm not starting, but I'm here with like 50 of my best friends that I'll be friends with for the rest of my life, and like beats working and beats working a job, and like I'm playing lacrosse, and at the end of the day I still get to be like a kid kind of and play a game that I love, and so I think just recognizing what you have and being thankful and grateful for it is probably my advice.
Yeah. So, kind of one of the last questions I have, but I think it kind of falls into the same thing. It's just kind of your younger self at Hotchkiss. What's kind of like that one piece of advice you give to yourself? But I think it's probably just the same thing of, as you were just saying. So.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Agree.
So, but yeah, no, that's all I had. But I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you. Tons of respect for you. I don't know you that well. You're good friends with my brother, but hopefully maybe we'll see you around a little bit more in Albany.
100%. Yeah. Thanks so much for chatting. It's great to talk.
Brother. Thank you.